Well, hey, happy Thursday. It's to you now. And
Dr. Michael Gross. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. It's really a joy.
we appreciate you taking the time to pop in and watch this Facebook Live that we do. We also put it up on Michael's YouTube channel. And I am thrilled because this is a topic that Michael was talking about last week. And we are now he's going to do part two. Michael, you want to tell them the topic title?
Your life path. And it's so interesting because we go through lots of different phases in our life and lots of information to share with you. So stay tuned, as they say in the old days in the radio station. And I know Tia wants to introduce us and talk a little bit about us. So go ahead, Tia.
Okay. Michael, you retitled it because I wrote down My Role in Life, part two.
Well, my same
Same
difference.
thing. Huh?
Same difference.
Same thing. Exactly. So, what I'd like to do in the beginning here is I'm going to switch this up a little bit, and I'll put all this information in the comments as well. But we really encourage other people to join us. Michael does a Tuesday night call in, and we'll give you the numbers later. But the Tuesday night call in is an opportunity where you can ask this man anything you want to regarding spirituality, the universe, and all these other things that are going on. We're really concerned about the way our world is going right now. And Michael has great insight to share with us. So if you're curious, definitely dial in 6:30 on Tuesday night. And like I said, it'll be in the comments below. And I just wanted to get that out there, okay?
That's
And
called
now,
that's called a Soul Awakening class. You'll enjoy it, and I deliver a 10-minute message. So please join us. And then you want to talk about the second Saturday of every month.
yeah, that's coming up. We just flipped over to March. And not this Saturday, but next Saturday. Michael, why don't you tell everybody what you do? And that way they can schedule it in.
So the second Saturday every month at 9:55 a.m. Pacific time to 11:01 Pacific time. Well, essentially, what it is that I deliver a wonderful message to all of you, and the message is that you are the person and the souls that is going to change the mass consciousness on this planet. So I call it the mass consciousness healing. Very powerful, very strong, and it's going to make a difference in your life. Not only in your life, but on this planet, because we know, look at the weather, look at everything that's gone on, look at the wars, the anger, the frustration. And it's so important that when it begins at 9:55 a.m., and I talk for about 5 minutes, we go into silence. Then afterwards, we work on sending unconditional love to this planet and its inhabitants. And it goes to 11:01. So please join us. It's up to you to make a difference because each one of you are the solution. So I thought I'd share that with you.
Perfect. So, on that note, I'm going to go ahead and get started, okay? We're going to introduce you, Dr. Michael Gross, because you are a phenomenal resource for many of us. And this is the only part we script, okay? And then I kind of ad lib sometimes. Sorry. Okay. Dr. Michael Gross is an author, professional keynote speaker, transformational coach, and an entrepreneur. For more than 3 decades, he's been on a spiritual path as an intuitive, a healer, a spiritual counselor, and a teacher. Through the guidance of spirit, Michael has assisted others in their personal quest for self empowerment, helping them to create the lives that they have long sought and to bring forth their intuitive abilities. Lost my place. Hold on. Michael currently teaches classes in spirituality, self empowerment, Reiki, and other modalities. In concert with God, the True Source, he has also achieved great success and miraculous healings. He remains humble, knowing that the work that he does all comes from God, the True Source. He lives in Lakewood, Washington, and has just launched his nonprofit. And I would love for you to take a minute to just talk about it and then get into the topic right away, okay?
The International Institute of Self Empowerment, or as we affectionately call it, TISE, TIISE, and it's all about helping abused women, children, and men. And the reason I chose to do it as a 501c3 is when I did it and the Chew source asked me to do it, I didn't know what the purpose was. But I always told her to have 12 arms. And then in working this beautiful lady and help her overcome a lot of her life and all the situations that went on, including all types of abuse, I decided to make her director of abuse, and I'm honored to have her do so. And that's the first arm, to help abused women, children, and men. It's a huge undertaking, which we'll talk about later, but we're always looking for donations. 501c3, tax deductible. So keep us in mind with the up and coming tax season. So thank you. We'll talk about that in the end. All right. So I wanted to talk to you about your life and your life's purpose and what is going on in your life. And this is called part two. And it's really important because you wake up one day and you will say, probably in your 30s or 40s, somewhere around there, late 30s, early 40s, what am I doing here? My children, or whatever, if you have children, you're going to have the empty nester. Eventually, they're going to go to college. And of course, if they're not, they're on their own, because realizing someone said to me many years ago, your children are on loan, meaning that they're here, you bring them up, you instill value system, and then they want to be with their friends, and eventually they go to college or find a vocation, and then they want to move away and experience life themselves. Or I will tell you, lately though, the last group of, let's say, children don't want to leave their homes because, I will put it bluntly, it's a free lunch, which is a beautiful, wonderful thing. But when we do that to our children with a free lunch, what are we teaching them? We're teaching them to be codependent. We're teaching them that, we're the backup system. We're not teaching them to be independent and strong. And if they have challenges in their life, just like you've had challenges, then you figure out how to work through it or get over it. I don't know about you, but if things were rough in my life, I knew my parents couldn't help me because they were middle income and they're getting ready to retire and finances were very tight. So the gift I received was I figured out eventually how to work it out and make things work and arrive at this point in life. So that's part of your life path, is to teach your children how to survive. And our heart goes out to them and we want to help them. And then you help them and you help them again and you help them again and you help them again and you help them again. And what have they learned? Mommy and daddy are going to be here to take care of me. Well, I've known a few families that have gone bankrupt trying to help their children. And their children's attitude is, well, I didn't ask to be here. I didn't ask to be born. Probably some of you heard that. And you know what? They did. They chose you as the parents. They chose their life. They chose everything to learn about self-worth, self-love, and self-esteem. Now, I don't want you to think I'm putting down children, and I'm not, because they are our world leaders someday. But part of our life path is to teach our children to be aware, to use critical thinking, and how to have survival skills. And that's most important. I don't, if you remember yourself, when I was growing up, I couldn't wait to get a job. Why? Because it's my money and I can do whatever I wanted to do. At least I thought I could. And I was forced to save part of the money, which was a wonderful thing. And then when I got a job after college, I lived with my parents for a short period of time and paid rent. And then I eventually went out on my own. And that's what we do. We don't know where the path leads. You don't know where your path leads. You really don't. Here you are, whatever you are, 35, 45, or 50, and you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow morning. All you know what's happening today. And that's part of your life path, to enjoy the moment, to enjoy the thrill and happiness of life, and to not know what's happening tomorrow morning. Too many of us want to control and manipulate everything in our life to know what's happening tomorrow morning. Well, you know what? It makes no difference. Because whenever tomorrow morning comes, you will either have your job, be looking for a job. Not much has changed except you. And let's talk about you changing. So here you are, and you are the teacher to your children and your family. That's really important. You're teaching them. You run and curse and scream and yell and play the victim, because you know what you're doing? You're instructing your children. Behave the same way. Or you say, I have an obstacle in my life. I don't know the answer, but I'm going to figure it out how to make it work. And if we look at that, it's so beautiful. You know, I had the honor of doing performing a wedding at a very dear friend of mine. And in doing so, there were five siblings plus mother and father. And they were struggling with money, and they had a fire, a drunk hit their house, and electrical lines and part of the house burned. And so what did they do? They went out and they slept on the floor of the church. And then somebody got together and helped them. They rented a house, and some of the people, friends, helped out. Then they came over to the new house they were renting while the insurance and everything was helping to repair the old house, and brought 3 weeks worth of food. And they didn't have any clothing because all the clothing either caught fire or was smoky. So they washed their clothes every day and hung it out to dry because they didn't have a dryer, on the lines. And they went to school clean, and they had one bathroom. Can you imagine that? Wow, 7 people in the family, one bathroom. Everybody would freak out today, but everybody had a time. They go to the restroom and they would just do that. But they made things work. And we look at today and see how spoiled we are. I mean, I'm spoiled too. Most of our houses have 2 or 3 bathrooms. We have a microwave. We have all the beautiful accoutrements to make our life easy. But you know what? The most important thing is that we've lost track of our family and the family unity. You look at the kids today, they got a date, they're going out somewhere, they're doing something. Very seldom does the family sit down together. And when they sit down together, they're on their phones, they're doing all this stuff, and there's no communications. Well, things are going to be changing over the next 7 years. I got news for everybody. Everything is changing. The family will become a cohesive unit once again, and they will be working together as a team. Because what is happening is a lot of changes. Changes are overwhelming that's going to be occurring. And it's going to give us time to say, what part in our life do we want to be? Do we want to be a family unit or 7 or 9 individuals going in 2,200 directions? We've lost track what is important in our life. And that's part of the awakening that's happening to a lot of families. Maybe they're paying attention to it. Maybe they're sorry. They sit down and want to talk to the children. Children just too busy, too busy. There's a lack of respect. You go into a store today, they're talking, they ignore you, they don't pay attention to you. Or maybe there's a manager. And most important thing in life is how we treat people, how we communicate with people, how we react with people. And that is an art. And it's an art we learn partially by our own experiences, but an art also taught by our educational systems. And the most important educational system, the greatest leaders and teachers, are your mom and dad. Second is your experiences. And what they teach you today is you're a victim, you're a victim, you're a victim. Hello. There are no victims in life. You place yourself in a position to grow and learn. And that is so important. Tia, would you like to add something?
I do, Michael. I know that when my kids were recent, my kids are adults. They're my daughter's got grown boys now, but maybe 10, 20 years ago, it was like they were the children were like being promoted up, even though they didn't know the knowledge. It was like if there was a race, in the summertime or right before the summer break, they used to do, some kind of athletics, and it was track and field. And when the kids were younger, it wasn't like you would earn that gold medal kind of thing. It was like everybody got a gold medal. And suddenly, being the number one, the best of the best was almost, it disappeared. And, it kind of globbed everybody all together. And can you speak on that a little bit? When we are all globbed together like that, pardon my vernacular, but when we're all put together to be the same and treated equal, what happens to our ability to move forward and conquer those challenges on our own? Isn't that something that we should have learned in school and with mom and dad?
Absolutely. And that's so important. You know, as a young child, the kids that got awards for being in high jumping and track, or they were a better baseball player or a soccer player or a tennis player. And, one of the things my parents said is that you can't be expert at everything, but you can have a lot of fun and enjoy it. And because there's somebody that's number one, you can strive to become number one. And even if you don't become number one, you become number one or 25, you have changed your life. You have overcome a lot of things. And that's what's so important. And we forget about that. But one of the most important things that I've taught my children is we all have gifts. And I was teaching my son, who has an ultra high IQ, that, he can do this and that. He's not a nerd, thank goodness. And my daughter, who had more street smarts but wasn't quite as intelligent. Well, both of them are very successful today, entrepreneurs. And the most important thing is they learn that they don't have to be number one in everything. They just have to be good at whatever they do. And each one of us has a gift. Some of you are experts at writing, some of you at software, some of you computer repair, doctors, lawyers, mothers, fathers, working in a store, whatever it is. It's something, a gift that you have. And that's something we don't teach our children, that each one has a gift. And then when they come home and complain, and what do? Because I have teachers. Oh, they complain it's the teacher's fault. It's not the teacher's fault. It's partially the fault of the parent because they don't take the time to spend time with their children. And others, you know, they don't have that gift. And I remember the valedictorian, his first name was Stanley. Wow, he's a valedictorian and everything. And he became an engineer. He got his master's. And in talking to his mother many years ago at a high school reunion, he was very unhappy. While there were others that were in different businesses or working for different companies were much happier. So sometimes intelligence is not the key to success. It's what the key to success in life, as you know, is if you're having fun and enjoying something you're doing, you're going to be very successful because you're not looking at the money. You're looking at the joy and happiness. And when you joy and happiness and you do well out of it, the money will follow and the recognition will follow. And we don't teach our children that. I don't mean to lecture all of you, but I'm talking about our roles in life. And as a teacher, our epitaph to our family, friends, and relatives is to have them to understand that they have gifts and they are successful and not to compare themselves to anybody else. It's impossible. I can't do things others can do. I can do things they can't do. So what? I'm happy what I'm doing. And we've forgotten that. And we've forgotten that our most important asset in life is our children. We talk about children trafficking, drug trafficking. Why are they doing this? Because they're looking for love. Why do they join gangs? Because the gangs say, this is my family. And there's something wrong that we have done as parents. It's so important. Another friend of mine, he was talking to a sibling and was saying, come on over for Christmas. She said, no, I got to be with my family. So we are your family. No, my friends are my family. No, no. And I went, wow. Knowing that they are good parents and very caring, but there's something, and I'm not criticizing, that was not related to her or she did not understand. So the most important thing is our children. Most important thing in our life is our family. Not your cars, your boats, your planes, not all the money in the world. It's your family. And it's the family unit that's going to not only create the rules and regulations and the epitaph, but is going to dictate the future of our lives. Because your children are going to be our future leaders, whatever may happen. And it's so interesting because years ago I was in the nursing home business. And many of the residents, their families lived 2 blocks away. They'd visit them at Christmas and their birthday. You're 2 blocks away. Why don't you see them more frequently? Why don't you have them for over dinner? They weren't incapacitated, a few were, but most of them weren't. They're just too busy. They forgot their moms and dads. But you remember, as a mom and dad, you would go without eating to take care of your children. You do it naturally. Not today. Everything has changed. So here we are in our roles in life. And most importantly, our roles in life. It's never too late. I don't care if your children are 50 years old, 60 years old, 10 years old. Teach them critical thinking. Teach them responsibility. Teach them when something goes awry, how to heal it, how to change it. And teach them that they can't be perfect in everything, but teach them what goals and gifts they have that others don't have. And that means they're equal. That's the most important thing we can do. Because you see, on a spiritual basis, once you birth out of your body and you become your soul again, you're going to look back and say, what did I do? How do I accomplish it? And have I made a difference? And that's number one. Have you made a difference in the world? So I'm looking at our time. We've got a few more minutes, as you can see. So everyone, think about these things. Think about that you are making a difference in this life. And if you're not, meditate, ask for true soul guidance, how I can make a difference in this life, not only for myself, but for my family and our children and grandchildren and great grandchildren. We are in a time where, when we look at news, and the news is someone else's opinion, it is not true news. I'm sure there are others that are giving true news. Now, I have no problem if they tell the news and say, this is my interpretation, this is what I believe in, this is my opinion. I have no problem with that. But other than that, they never present it that way. I know Tia wanted to mention something.
Couldn't get myself off mute. Um, the question I had that I wish someone would have told me is our children. I always thought that in order to teach my children, I had to sit them down and be that teacher in the classroom. And that's not the way it is at all. You know, we are the role model, right?
Yes.
And if we want our children to, follow that, we need to set the example. Can you talk a little bit about that,
Yes,
please?
there are two ways in which we, let's say, teach our children and help them deal with life. One is that you don't lecture them. You sit down and say, what have you learned in this? And you talk about a little bit, just a little bit of what you've learned in life. Not a lot, because they'll get turned off. Because children become self-centered. So you talk about what have you learned in life, and you talk a little bit about that. Then you would say to them, or I would suggest, well, how do you think we can change this? What do you think you could do to make it better or make yourself happier? Make them search deep within them. Now, here's part of the secret. They have been looking at you for years, totally years. They know your intricacies, they know your temperament, they know everything and notice how you handle things. And so they'll come up with some kind of solution. And you ask them, well, is you think that's best for you? And even if you know it's wrong, you go, okay, give it a try. If not, we'll try something else. And you just let it go. So how do children learn? Well, how does anybody learn? One, either we read about experiences or experiences are shared. And the other part, they have to learn the hard way by ending up with egg on their face. But either way, they've learned something new. And that's so important in their life. You are learning what's something new. So if we look at our lives right now and all the social media, and I'm on social media, and all the things we hear, what have we discerned that is the truth? What have we discerned for what direction we want to go in life? And isn't it great to be successful? But in losing, and remember, that's a term that humans use. We lost something, we're losing. If you look at the word losing and failure, the truth is you were and learned what worked and didn't work. So really, there is no loss and there is no failure. You just learned something new, but it's an acronym we've given for something. And if you turn around and say, well, didn't work out for me, but I learned something new, and take what you've learned and begin to practice it. So much of our manifestation and creation of our life comes from our thoughts and feelings. And those thoughts and feelings, as I mentioned before, are electromagnetic, meaning your energy, they can measure the brain waves, and you draw it into your life. Why did you draw it into your life? To learn something new. Whether you have a business that's phenomenal, or a business that's losing, or a job that's joyful or not joyful, you've learned something. What are we here on earth for? Well, we're here to learn and grow. We're also to learn about some of the karmic challenges, and that helps us to grow. So important for you to realize that you are in control of your life, that you are not only in control of your life, but you are the leader of your family. So tune in for part 3. It's coming up. And I know we're running out of time, so I thank you for your patience. And I turn it over to you.
Wow, that was wonderful, Michael. Thank you. Thank you for all the wisdom. I wish I would have known this when my kids were younger. I think I would have done a totally different turnaround as a role model. But once again, I stay tuned for part 3 next week. We'll be back on Thursday. But for now, why don't we talk about the Tuesday night call-in, Michael, really quick, and we'll pop out the numbers, okay?
Yep, I've already addressed that. And it's from 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. called Soul Awakening, and I deliver a little 10-minute motivational message. To access this information, this is what you need to do. Go ahead, to you.
Okay, you call this number 202-926-1059, and the access code, Michael?
125-446-pound.
One more time, I'll give that one. It's 202-926-1059, and the code?
125-446-pound. And we're going to use the same code for the Mass Consciousness Healing on the second week, I should say the second Saturday of every month. So if you don't mind, would you give them that information? Because the codes and the telephone numbers are identical.
I'll give that number one more time, okay? It's 202-926-1059, and the access code?
125-446-pound.
And your recordings, you mentioned it very briefly. So how do we, can you tell them again a little bit about the recordings that you do?
I believe there are 269 10-minute recordings that I've delivered on Tuesday, and they start from number 3 all the way up to 269. You don't have to worry about what number each is, although there may be identification of it. What's more important is that the number you choose, whether it's number 3 or 175 or whatever it is, it's just what you really need. In order to access that, you need to dial the following.
Okay, 434-300-4170. And
Yep.
I will give that one. Oh, okay. The access code?
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll give that one again. It's 434-300-4170, and the access code?
125-446-pound. So it's identical. And you can watch the replay of this on Dr. Michael V. Gross YouTube. Also, there are the 10-minute messages are also recorded on YouTube, Dr. Michael V. Gross. And please subscribe. So if you want to listen to what I call the replay of the 10-minute messages, there's beautiful photography done by the award-winning photographer, TU. And there's a little saying from the true source on top of each video. So please enjoy that. And, you can either watch it when you're bored, or if you're stuck in traffic, you can listen to it on your phone. So I encourage all of you to do that. And I would like to share with you, this is brought to you by a commercial, Healing the Holes in Your Soul by TU Nap. It's all about a woman from being in the throes of danger and being reborn into joy and happiness. It's a great, wonderful, inspiring story, and it helped me make a decision to make her director of abuse for women, children, and men.
But start with this book because this one was written by that amazing gentleman next to me, Dr. Michael Gross, who wrote the foreword in the book that he's holding. And this now, Michael, you want to let the people know about this one?
Yes, this
What's
is the second edition. So not only is some of the old information in there, but there's exciting new information about the 12 manifestation protocols. It's an outline, and it's beautiful, it's wonderful, and I'm so happy to share it with you. I just received the shipment in this Monday. So if you desire to have it till I get it over to Amazon, which will probably take a week or 10 days, you can order it directly, and the information is there, or you can go to drmichaelgross.com and you can place your order there, or you can call me at my private cell at 253 222 1096. 253 222 1096, and I'll be glad to send one out to you. Thank you.
the best way to get one of these is go right through Dr. Michael Gross. Contact information is all in the chat, and I bet you he'll autograph it for you. If you go through Amazon, you won't get a signed copy, but you will if you go directly through him. Just have to say that.
Thank you. So
You're
thank you
welcome.
everyone for joining us. You're very important to us. You are the solution to this world. You can make a difference if you so desire. And we really need all of you, because what you think you create, you experience. And the most important thing is there's only two energies, as the true source told me, on this planet: love and anything that is not a love. So everyone, have a great week. Share this with others. Please join us. Remember, you are unlimited. We love you. Namaste, everybody.
Namaste.
Bye bye.